Remember when? The drive-in theater. Do you remember? A drive-in theater, sometimes known as a drive-in cinema, is a type of cinema that includes a big outdoor movie screen, a projection booth, a snack stand, and a huge parking lot for cars. Customers may watch movies in the privacy and comfort of their own vehicles within this covered space. Children's playgrounds and a few picnic tables or seats are available at some drive ins. The screen might be as basic as a painted white wall. Initially, the movie's sound was delivered by speakers mounted on the screen, but subsequently, individual speakers hung from each car window and wired to a tiny pole were used. The more practical technology of micro broadcasting the soundtrack to automobile radios eventually supplanted these speaker setups. The film soundtrack may also be heard in stereo on automobile audio systems, which are often of far greater quality and fidelity than the previous system's simple little mono speakers. Following 1945, there was a surge of drive-in cinemas, with hundreds opening each year due to increased automobile ownership and suburban and rural populations. Following the end of wartime fuel rationing, many couples reunited and began having children, culminating in the baby boom. By 1951, there was 4,151 drive-in movie theaters in the US, up from 155 in 1947. The drive-in's popularity peaked in the late 1950s and early 1960s, especially in rural regions, when there was over 4,000 drive-ins throughout the country in 1958. They were less expensive alternatives to indoor cinema theaters because not only did they save money on gas by not having to drive to the city and back, but the cost of building and maintaining a drive-in theater was also less expensive than the indoor theater, resulting in a lower overall cost of attendance. Its benefits included the ability of older parents with children to attend a movie while caring for their child, as well as the fact that drive-ins were perfect for first dates for teenagers. Unlike indoor movie theaters, there was a relaxed atmosphere that appealed to individuals of all ages, particularly families. The popularity of the drive-in was due to its reputation as a family-friendly destination. Parents could take their children to the movies in their pajamas without upsetting other moviegoers, and they could spend time together without having to pay for babysitters. Drive-ins cater to a certain demographic, providing amenities such as bottle warmers and even diaper vending machines, as well as later miniature golf courses, swimming pools, and even land-based hotels with windows facing the screen, so that moviegoers could watch the movies from their beds. Now that's the life. Drive-ins had a reputation as immoral in the 1950s because the increased seclusion provided to guests, and they were dubbed passion pits in the media. Some drive-ins utilized attention-getting gimmicks to increase attendance while they were at their peak. They included prize giveaways and free admission, miniature airplane runways, helicopter or hot air balloon rides, odd attractions like a small petting zoo or monkey cage, personal visits by performers to introduce their films, or musical ensembles to perform before the performance. On quiet evenings like Wednesdays and Sundays, some drive-ins offered religious services or paid a fixed rate per car. Admission was $1 per automobile during buck or discount evenings in the 1950s and 60s. The Johnny All-Weather Drive-In in New York was one of the largest drive-ins. It could park 2,500 automobiles on its 29-acre property. It included a full-service restaurant with rooftop seating, as well as a trolley system that transported children and adults to a playground and a big indoor theater in case of bad weather for those who preferred to watch in comfort. From the 1970s through the 1990s, there was a decline in the number of people who attended drive-ins. Drive-in attendance began to fall in the late 1960s as home entertainment improved and changed from color television and cable television to VCRs and video rental in the early 1980s. During 2020, drive-in cinemas in numerous U.S. states saw an unanticipated increase in attendance since they were permitted to operate despite laws on large gatherings that prevented indoor theaters from doing so. Will you go back to the drive-in? Let us know in the comments. As always, thank you for tuning in.